whenever you set out to do something and you feel that little spark in you, the little interest is something like, this is it, you should always lean into that because it's leading you to beautiful places. Welcome everyone to Life with Liza podcast. Our mission at Life with Liza is to share people's stories and the challenges that they have overcome so that those who are listening in can get the strength, the courage, and the hope to be their better selves. And today we have a special edition episode, and I wanted to welcome you here in this beautiful space of Life with Liza podcast where we get to learn, we get to get inspired and to get better. What a beautiful place to be. Thank you so much for being here. I wanted to talk in this podcast about my journey as a podcaster, how it all started, why did I start, and what were some of the unexpected things that happen once you do your own podcast as well. So let's start from the very beginning. It's so funny how some things in life just happen as it looks like in the moment for there's no reason or no why behind them, but then only once we start looking back, we see how all the crazy things that happen in our lives actually do make sense afterwards. So I was doing Instagram lives. Before I had my podcast, I was doing Instagram lives with some other like-minded people, and I wanted to do one with a girl from Dubai, and we were set out to do it. And then the Instagram, I go live, and apparently you're not allowed to go live from Dubai unless, I guess, if you're using a VPN. So it did not work out. And then we thought, okay, let's just do a Zoom conversation and then we can share it with people. So we hopped on Zoom and we did a Zoom call, and then I uploaded it on YouTube. And after that Zoom call where we had this podcast interview vibey conversation, I thought, oh my God, this is something that I should be doing. It felt so aligned with my strengths and my interests and something that I wanted to be doing, and I felt so much purpose in that very moment. At the moment I finished recording that, we finished the Zoom call, I just started running around the house. I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is something that I should be doing. So then the actual process of starting your podcast is so easy. You just need to go on a podcast platform and open an account, get it approved by all the podcast providers like Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and you set up your profile. It's quite easy. And then I think the harder part is definitely getting all the leads and finding guests for your podcast and convincing them to come. But also it's such a fun thing to do, and something that a few things I wanted to share because this topic is so exciting for me. So I did share how it all started. It was all a random coincidence. Then why I started was because the way I felt the spark. I just felt something, and I knew that I need to grab onto it and never let it go. Because whenever you set out to do something and you feel that little spark in you, the little interest is something like, this is it, you should always lean into that because it's leading you to beautiful places. So I knew that it's so aligned with who I am, and I need to just hold on to it, and that's why I decided to continue. Setting up the actual podcast is not difficult. The more difficult part is setting all the processes in text so that you actually do get the guests consistently, and you learn everything that comes along with it. And also another point that I wanted to make here is that whenever you decide to do something, even something that you're meant to be doing, even something that is so aligned with your purpose, there always will be something that you hate about it, or the boring part, or things that you don't enjoy. And as long as you can have that proportion, the ratio of 80% of the things that you absolutely love about that thing, and 20% that you don't necessarily love and hope you didn't have and hope you never had to do in that thing, it still very much could be your purpose. I think many people feel like if it is their purpose, then they need to be 100% always happy with that, and that's not what I think. I very much agree with Mark Manson when he said there is the shit sandwich, and you basically just need to choose what kind of shit sandwich you want to eat, because in anything that you do, even something that you absolutely love, there's always this shit sandwich, like things that you would not want to be doing. And just to give the examples of the podcast and things that I think I will outsource in the future, and definitely some of the shit sandwich moments is when the software lets you down, and then you feel so bad because you've had this beautiful conversation with the person who gave you their time and energy and came there and performed and did their best, and then the software did not record the voice, or the voice audio tracks emerge, and now you feel so bad you don't even know what to say to the person, and you need to find a way to edit it so that it unmerges, and you start dealing with all these issues, and then you have to release the podcast consistently, so it's 2 a.m. and you're there editing and freaking out. There's always the shit sandwich in anything that you do. Just remember that it still very much could be your purpose, even if there are those moments. And in future, once you become more successful, you can start outsourcing also parts of the job that could be done by someone else. The part of the podcasting job that is definitely my favorite, and I would not want to outsource it to anyone else, is the actual interview. I love actual conversation with a person and going deep into certain topics, getting to know them and learning from them. It's the biggest privilege that I feel like as a podcaster I gained. And talking about the unexpected things that come with once you start recording your podcast or having a podcast, is that you basically have a medium of where you can connect with other people. Because otherwise, once you reach out to strangers on Instagram, you can still chat with strangers on Instagram, but you don't really have anything to offer to them, and you don't have a really good way to connect and have the deeper conversation. But when you do a podcast together, you manage to build this great connection with each other because you go deep on certain topics, you get to know each other, you feel like you have known each other for such a long time once you've had that connection, and afterwards you actually become friends. And it's the most incredible thing because you can find like-minded people and have the most beautiful deep conversations that you also get to share with your community, and then at the same time you gain new friends. I think this was the most unexpected part for me for becoming a podcaster, which happened also very fast, very randomly for me. And I'm so grateful for is all the friendships that I get to build. And literally with the people, I met up with 2 of my podcast guests now when I was in London, just because we really enjoy each other. And it's so crazy that I got to meet them in social media, have had a podcast with them, and now we're friends and we get to meet each other and see each other in real life. And I also even organized the masterminds for the podcast guests, because literally I'm so picky about my guests and they are the most inspiring women, or at least I think so. And I thought, what if I put everyone in the same room together and we get to learn from each other, inspire each other, and give each other that push that we need. And it's the most beautiful energy. So I think there is something so powerful about the opportunities that we currently have with social media, and podcasting is just one way to do so. And I just wanted to explain a bit why I did the podcast, and I hope you really are enjoying this 100 episodes in 100 days leading up to 2022. I'm recording them every day for you because I really want to also show you what is possible if you put your mind to it, if you're disciplined. I feel like that because I'm already recording so many more podcast episodes, and I'm putting so much more content out there, that I'm getting so much better at articulating myself. I'm getting so much better at thinking through the ideas, and I think it really does matter the amount of volume that you put out there, because you need that volume to get better. So I hope you're enjoying seeing how this podcast improves. And it's so crazy that how far we've come. The podcast just came out in January 2022, and now we have over 35 episodes. I've interviewed over 20 people, and it's been listened on all continents. It's insane. It's been less than a year. Consistency, hard work, dedication with anything. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you tomorrow.